up, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages? Wake Up Mintzy, presented by the fine folks of Dude Wipes, coming to you not live from the Chicago office on yet another, I know this is repetitive, freezing-ass day here in Chicago. Damn, this winter. I mean, it feels like it's been going forever. It's only mid-February. But you know what? It was warm in New Orleans last week, and it was a hell of a good time. So we're just going to focus on that. Pounding some Stella Blue, as always. Going to be joined by Tyler Moody from Louisiana in a second. We got Kate, the star of Super Bowl week in NOLA. Content was just on fire all week, especially the Jason Kelsey roast. But Kate was tearing it up all week. We appreciate her joining us on Wake Up Mintzy. That's going to be about 9:15. And also appreciate, I think the hatchet's been buried with her and me, and that's very nice. Very nice of her. We're going to get right into the Super Bowl stuff, joined by Mr. Moody this morning. How are we doing, Moody?
I'm good, man. I'm a little bit tired, stayed up a little too late, but I'm here. I'm ready. I'm hot coming off the Super Bowl, brother. I've been having some good gambling days, so I'm having a pretty good Tuesday morning.
Yeah, so Moody, you just murdered the playoffs, dude. Murdered. My dumb ass. Sometimes your heart and your head, we always talk about, like, when you're a gambler, you got to think with your brain and not with your heart, and I just can't go against Patrick Mahomes. And there were warning signs, especially about the Chiefs' offensive line. It kind of, going in, it felt a little similar to that Bucs Super Bowl when the Bucs destroyed the Chiefs 31-9 or whatever. But, man, touching base in that game, all-out ass whipping. There ain't nothing to say. I mean, the Eagles' defensive line really won that game to me. The Chiefs had 23 total yards in the first half. 23! You're not going to win doing that. And, so many years. The Eagles were, I'll say this, though, one of the most complete football teams I've ever seen. I feel like going to the playoffs because Jaylen Hurts had that concussion. It threw people off it a little bit. But, man, you look at that football team with Barkley at running back, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Goddard, one of the best offensive line in the NFL. Defensive line that just loaded. Josh Sweat, 2.5 sacks. Milton Williams making plays. I mean, Jalen Carter's the star, but they have a ton of guys. Zach Bond, first-team All-Pro at linebacker. And really the moves, I think that, to me, impressed me the most were the secondary upgrade. Quinyon Mitchell, the draft pick. Cooper DeJean had the pick 6 on his 22nd birthday. Totally complete football team. Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, I want to give him a shout-out. He was coaching the Saints Dome Patrol back when I was a kid. Finally gets his first Super Bowl win 30-something years later in the Superdome. I thought that was kind of a fitting full-circle thing, but you just got to give the Eagles credit. They beat the shit out of them. I don't know that I've ever seen a combo of the NFC Championship and Super Bowl where they outscored teams, 95-45 in those two games. So they're a worthy champion, and, boy, there were some scenes in NOLA and Philly.
Yeah, of course there was. Philadelphia fans, you knew win or lose, Philadelphia fans were going to go crazy, act fools. That's what they do. It's just in their blood. There is no crazier fan base city in the entire world, I think, than what you get with Philadelphia fans. They're absolutely insane. And yeah, my bad, boys. I can't hear some of the stuff from the studio because I'm here in Louisiana, so I couldn't hear the background music. But my bad. We're good now. But Mintz, the game went exactly as I told you it was going to go on Thursday. Kansas City was going to struggle to move the football. The only person that had to or could step up against that defense was going to be Travis Kelce, and it didn't happen. He did not carry them offensively. They struggled to deal with that Eagles pass rush. It is exactly how I told you on Thursday. It was a beatdown. Eagles ran them out of the building. And honestly, like you said, that was one of the more complete teams that I have watched in a while. And now we may be looking at a team that could do what Kansas City has done the last couple years and being the most dominant team in the NFL. I don't see any reason Philadelphia is going anywhere going into next season. They're returning the majority of their stars. They've got like 2 notable names. They're going to be in free agency. This is going to be a damn good football team for years to come.
I want to talk about Jaylen Hurts, too, Super Bowl MVP, because when you look at, let's look back at just his story for a second. He kind of got run out of Alabama. He started his first 2 years, got benched in the national championship game his sophomore year when they were down 20-0 to Georgia. Tua brought him back. Then he sat as a junior behind Tua the whole year, comes in, wins the SEC championship, gets kind of pushed out to go to Oklahoma, finishes second in the Heisman voting, makes the playoffs at Oklahoma, still falls to the second round, still has dumbasses like me that I remember saying I wasn't sure he was an NFL quarterback a few years ago. That take didn't age very well. And now Gets them to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, has this crazy, he had like 400 yards and like 4 touchdowns in that Super Bowl. They lose 38-35, gets them back 2 years later, gets a Super Bowl title. I think his story is a story of perseverance, and his dad was a high school coach, and just props to him. I mean, obviously Philly's a complete team. There's no doubt about it. But Hurts, man, I mean, he could throw. His legs are, you saw his legs on full display. He had like 70 yards rushing. And I'm legitimately happy for him because his career has taken he's had a winding road, especially what happened to him in Alabama, and he's a worthy Super Bowl champion.
He's been one of the more level-headed quarterbacks that we've seen. He's always consistent. That's one thing that you see from Jaylen Hurts. He's the same guy, win or lose. He brings the same attitude. He's, obviously very strong in his faith. I think that's probably helped him. He's very open and adamant about that. But there is no doubt that Jaylen Hurts has become a great NFL quarterback. Just like you, I was worried about him as a passer coming into the league. We knew the legs were there. We knew he was pretty good upstairs. But he would miss some throws, especially in college and early on in his career, that he should have been hitting. He's taken that step forward. He made some big-time throws in big-time situations early on in that game. I thought he played tremendously, and he deserves this. He deserved MVP. I had him for MVP as well. He's turned into a star. And here's the thing. They don't ask him to do too much. He needs to play within the flow of the offense and execute the offense, and he did a hell of a job with that with Kellen Moore as his OC.
Well, yeah, you got to give him credit for this game, though, because the Chiefs' game plan was obviously not let Barkley run the ball. And they did a damn good job stopping Saquon, running the ball. And they said, we're going to make Jaylen Hurts beat us. And I'll be damned if he didn't just do that. Shout out A.J. Brown, great Ole Miss Rebel, getting a Super Bowl ring. Very happy for the mayor. I saw Nick Sirianni was wearing A.J. Brown's high school jersey, Starkville High jersey, in a press conference yesterday. Happy for him. On the Eagles front, they think Kellen Moore is going to be announced as the new Saints coach today. Ian Rappaport just reported. So they're going to have to replace their offensive coordinator. But that's what happens when you win Super Bowls. You're going to lose your coordinators. But props to the Eagles. And then when you look at it too, Moody, you talked about the Eagles maybe having a shot to make a big run the next few years. They could have won the Super Bowl easily 2 years ago too. Easily. Sure. They were up 10 at half. And so they're the best team in the NFC. I know they fell off that next year, but got to give them a ton of credit. Nick Sirianni is a guy that's kind of a lightning rod. People like to hate on him, but, man, I'll be damned if you look at his 4 years, the job he's done since he's been at Philly, other than them falling off late last year. And now he's a Super Bowl champ. And, shout out to Barstool. The content's been on fire all week. Moot, man on the streets out in Philadelphia was nuts. Obviously, Philly burned it down. Gilly is like the mayor of Philadelphia, just seeing him take over New Orleans. They didn't let him run the team out on the field on the Super Bowl. That was my only bummer because he ran the team out in the 3 playoff games. Had an awesome week in New Orleans. I want to talk about that a little bit. Man, I'm really proud of the city of New Orleans because, let's be honest, that tragedy New Year's Day, early morning, was just so heartbreaking and was so bad for the city and the families and just tragic. And I think New Orleans needed the week they had last week. All the reports from everyone, from the NFL media, players, fans, everybody went down there, said best place to host. They went out all week. I saw Bourbon Street was packed wall to wall Saturday. They had just all kinds of events the whole week. And, it was just great to see the city shine. And there was so much fun stuff, all week. I could barely keep up. I was down there for like 6 nights. And, man, just so much cool stuff. Some of the stuff I want to share. I gotta mention, Moody, you saw the Michelle Gleason thing, right?
Yeah, I'm not. Some people were saying, I saw in the comments, were like, this is staged, this is fake. I am not the least bit surprised that you walked away with somebody else's laptop. He doesn't even. So Mintz and I, sometimes whenever I'd stay with him in Chicago, we both had AirPods, right? I can't tell you how many times, and they were completely different packaging. He had the big AirPod Pro package. I had the little small one. He would freaking grab mine all the time and put them in his bag. This is just natural Mintz. So I am the least bit surprised that you accidentally walked off with her MacBook.
Well, so what happened with that, just sharing that story, which was definitely one of the wilder ones of the week, was I was out, shout out to the Steve Gleason Charity Foundation. Had an awesome time. Went out there Thursday to City Park to their golf tournament to support it, do the show. Got to interview Sean Payton and John Summerall and bunch of people. Got to caught up with Justin Vincent, old LSU hero. I always love Justin Vincent. Got to give him a shout out. But so I do all that, regular show, whatever. And then my laptop was sitting on the table or so I thought, so I just put it in my bag and walked off. Everybody's got the same Apple MacBook. Everybody's got the same laptop now. So I leave. Go ahead.
Except for she had a sticker on hers that I noticed whenever you brought it back in. She had a big-ass sticker on hers, in fact.
So I get a phone call 3 hours later from Gordy Rush, my old ESPN Baton Rouge boss, like, hey, they ran the security footage and you took Michelle Gleason's laptop. I was like, what? And so I checked my bag and I have 2 laptops in it. I mean, only I can be stupid. Who takes the laptop of the poor lady who's running her husband's charity event? All-time low moment. She texted me. I was like, I'll be back there in 20 minutes as fast as I can. And when I walked back in, they were just like waiting to cheer me and troll me. There was like 20 of them.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either, but damn. Literally absurd. But shout out, great event. And I'm working. I want to get a Barstool No White Flag shirt because I love what Team Gleason does. And, Steve Gleason, I got to meet him. I can't believe, I'll be honest, man, the fact he's still alive in 2024 or 2025 is incredible. He's at ALS since like 2010. I mean, just his power to live and the impact he's had, just amazing stuff. So shout out to them. That was a lot of fun. Some of the other fun stuff, the Dozen Trivia event Tuesday night at Fillmore. Shout out to all the Tulane people that came. Big turnout. Huge success. Was cool. Getting to Sean Payton hanging out with Dave and Gruden was pretty unreal. It was really funny. Gruden got asked a question. They like called the crowd who was the MVP of it was basically the Titans-Rams Super Bowl. And he was talking to Dave and Peyton and just like totally like had no idea when it was Torrey Holt, which was a funny, kind of a funny moment. The Barstool radio shows I thought were on fire Wednesday through Friday on Bourbon Street. Barstool had a huge week with the Yak and Mostly Sports, and they had the big skills competition. The Nick Turaney, John Gruden commentary I thought was just spectacular. By the way, did you see the Gruden out of order, the Super Bowl one?
One of the best things I have ever seen from Barstool, like top 5 content of all time. Like the greatest hire that Barstool's ever made is John Gruden, in my personal opinion. Like it's insane how good he is. He is comedy. And, I mean, whoever came up with that skit, a genius as well. They deserve props. I mean, very well written. And then his execution was great. John Gruden is the freaking man, bro.
Dude, he is. He's one of a kind. His enthusiasm and energy for life, you can't replicate it. Just so much fun being around him. And supposedly I asked about that out of order, and apparently he ad-libbed and did a lot of himself, and it was only 1 or 2 takes.
That's wild. That's pretty awesome.
But that was cool. Also, I want to mention, shout out to Chris Clemmer. Rat Race New Orleans came out last Wednesday night. It's got way over 100K views on YouTube. If you hadn't checked it out yet, check it out. I thought they did a spectacular job paying homage to New Orleans with the landmarks they used. And, I don't want to spoil it on here, but just they did, I'm judging it from a New Orleans lens. And they did New Orleans right. They picked the right landmarks and embraced the history. And we were out there running around. It was raining like hell. So it was chaotic. It was fun. And good to see Clemmer's Rat Race continuing to grow. And Clemmer and I, by the way, Moody, we're 3 weeks away today from the Clemmer Pro Day Part 2 at the Yak. Remember the Pro Day last year when I bombed the grilled cheese?
Yeah, have you been doing any training? You've been trying to get ready, getting your body prepared?
I mean, I have been working out and running, but I don't know what that means for the Pro Day. I have no idea what they're going to do as far as activities, but TJ said they've been planning it. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's on March the 4th. So really, really looking forward to that. Some other NOLA stuff. So did you see all the Jameis Winston content stuff last week? He just took over.
I saw Jameis Winston everywhere. I felt like he was on everything on different networks. I mean, Jameis has become the man. He was doing a great job as an interviewer as well. Jameis's ability to have fun with everything that he does and bring joy into it is really inspiring. I mean, he's the man, dude. Jameis is he's quite the character, and he has good character too.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. I thought he was just all the scenes with him were super fun. And then some other NOLA stuff. Moody, I ended up at about the wildest private party I've ever been at in my life Thursday night. Starter Jackets had 80-person private party in a house on Jackson Square with Manny Fresh and Juvenile full band. Just bananas.
Fresh.
Yeah, just bananas. I did not get up and rap with them, but
Good idea. Yep.
yeah, but it was freaking awesome. Also went to Shaq's Funhouse on a Friday. Super cool event. Love that. They had him and John Summit. I mean, it was just so much all week. I want to give a shout out too. I got to eat some crawfish Monday for the first time all year at Meal Brewery. I want to give them a positive shout out on air. Had one of the best New Orleans meals I've ever had in my life at August Wednesday night. Ever. Did the chef's tasting. Just, if you haven't got a chance to do that, you want to like throw down for a meal in New Orleans. I mean, this thing was unbelievable. So, overall, thought it was a really good week. A lot of fun. And then, Moody, did you see the halftime show of the Super Bowl?
I did see the halftime show. I was trying to grab some of it this morning, but I couldn't connect to freaking X on the computer here. But hilarious stuff. Whoever helped you prepare that, I mean, genius stuff. Really, really good. It was probably the best performance that I've seen from you. That's when you're in your element, is during halftime shows.
Well, shout out Quiggs. Quiggs did the NOLA backdrop and graphics, and Quiggs is everybody knows at Barstool. He's like a graphics genius. I mean, he's one of the unsung. I mean, well, I wouldn't even say he's an unsung hero. I mean, everybody knows how talented he is. He does all the advisor stuff too for Stu and Big Cat. But yeah, great backdrop. I decked out in a full Dr. John outfit. Did right place, wrong time. Actually, I always get a lot of hate, but got less hate on this one than normal. And Big Cat said it was the best one of the 4 I've done. So, what'd you think? So, Moody, analyzed some other Super Bowl stuff. What'd you think of the Kendrick Lamar halftime?
I'm a Kendrick fan. I've seen Kendrick 4 or 5 times live. I mean, I thought it was a B performance at best. I can understand why a lot of people didn't like it. I thought the shots at Drake were good. I mean, I knew what it was going to be coming in. He was going to take his shot somewhere. He loves that shit. This was his moment to get the big dig in at Drake. So I'm not surprised by that. I'm also not surprised that people hated it. It's not a halftime show. Kendrick is not halftime show music. In the rap community, Kendrick's the man. But I think in the overall scope of what music is, he's not the best halftime performance. So I thought it was fine. I wasn't near as down on it as everybody else was because I am a Kendrick fan. But at the same time, I can understand why people were shitting on him, and rightfully so.
Well, my thing with it, like I said, I'm not going to say I'm like the biggest rap fan. I'm an old school NOLA rap fan. And I
should have been Wayne, bro. It should have been Wayne. I grew up on Lil Wayne. I can do every Lil Wayne song there's ever been. I mean, we here in Louisiana, it's Wayne and Boosie. Grew up on Wayne. The fact that they didn't have Wayne is the biggest bullshit of it all. So even coming in, people were going to be pissed off about it. It's really insane that they didn't go with Lil Wayne. And so I'm glad that Kendrick's getting the backlash that he's getting simply because they did not give my boy his chance to shine in New Orleans. I'm going to bow out of here and let Kate take over. See you, boys.
All right. We got Kate joining us this morning. Star of Super Bowl week. Kate, on fire. The Barstool, the content was amazing. You were just all over the city all week. Just get to see the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles absolutely murder the Chiefs.
Yep.
And but even more than that, just love seeing you out in NOLA. You love NOLA. It seemed like, and the Jason Kelsey roast was spectacular.
Thank you so much. First of all, is my mic on?
We check.
It's hard to tell. I would say just check. Barstool difference. You never know.
The men's difference.
In the meantime, in case you can hear me.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Okay, excellent.
I'm going to turn it up.
No, you're fine. Anyways, I had the best time. I was so torn on going, too, because I was like, man, I got 2 small kids at home. I don't know if I should leave them. And I'm not really like, this is shocking, I'm not really like a sports heavy person. So I was like, I don't want to take somebody's spot who's like a sports person. But I went and every morning before I had work stuff, I got up and I was going on tours. I was taking the trolley out to the boondoggles, doing whatever. Like, that city is awesome. Yeah.
Love to hear that. So what was, so looking back, when was the last time you were down there?
I was down there for the Eagles playoff game against the Saints in
I think I was 17.
Was it 17? I think it was 2017. And we went and we did it was just my friend and I, and we only stayed in like the French Quarter bubble. And I got the green wigs and this whole like outfit, blah, blah. And then we got our asses beat And
y'all were up in that game 14-0. Saints came back. I mean, it was a good game.
But it was nice. After we lost, we were surrounded by Saints fans, and they gave us like a loser parade out of the stadium to the nearest bar. And like it was just the best. But after 2 days there, I was like, I'm dead. I don't know how people live there full time.
Well, you can imagine what my past was there during my wilder days.
It gave me a better idea of.
I saw Malasek tweeted that. There was like, after being in New Orleans for a week, I can now understand Mintzy.
Yeah, I have a better understanding of your brain and a huge respect for your liver.
Yeah, I had to slow. Yeah, that's why I had to slow it down.
It's the most grizzled veteran at Barstool is Mintzy's liver.
Well, that's why it's retired now. But all right. Well, I want to get to some highlights. So you got down there. So where, as far as touring and stuff, what was some of the fun, your favorite stuff?
I booked an early bird. Got there Sunday night, walked Bourbon Street, and I was by myself at 1 a.m. So that was I was like, oh, maybe I should go back to my room. But the next morning, I booked an early bird tour. And I was like, does anybody else want to go with me? Crickets. I felt like such an old lady. But I did a 3-hour tour with this man. It was like Ask Arthur tours or something like that. All around the French Quarter and everything. And then I walked over to Marigny.
Yeah, I love the
Marigny district.
Love the Marigny.
I just tooled around over there looking at the houses and everything. And then did I go out that night? Oh, then we had a little bit of a yak dinner that night.
Where'd y'all go for the yak dinner?
I forget. It was fancy. It was in the French Quarter, and it was on. We had the whole.
Oh, was it Galatoire's?
Yes, that's what Galatoire's.
That's awesome.
We had the top floor to ourselves, the balcony overlooking Bourbon Street. So I was just out there with a glass of wine, just it was great. The next night was Tuesday night the dozen.
Yeah, Tuesday was the dozen.
So Tuesday, I did a cemetery tour in the morning, then the rundown. Went out to Tulane to visit my cousin, walked Frat Row.
Nice.
Saw the Boot, the famous bar the college bar. I was afraid. I had to pee. I was afraid to go in. I thought I was going to get doinked in the head with a football by a frat boy or something. This is probably so boring, but I lied. I had the best fucking time. Well, then.
People want the recap.
We had this huge dinner at this little Italian spot, Vincent's.
Love Vincent's.
It was
That's one of my favorite spots up there, the Creole Italian.
Yeah, it was. And it's such a cute, real, it hasn't been updated since 1950 or something. It was so good. I eat this huge dinner of spaghetti meatballs, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll go to the dozen. And at the dozen, somebody was like, Kate, have a beer. So I was like, I'll have one beer, but then I'm going back to my room. I had one beer, left the dozen, was like, I'm going to find an ice cream, go to bed. Couldn't find an ice cream cone. I was like, you know what? I'll go to the Aaron Rose and have one of my Irish coffee slushy drinks. Had one of those. That turned into 2. Sales team rolled in, shots. Next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. I was ripping it. I was on the street telling college students how to live their lives successfully.
What would be Kate's advice be to college students to live their lives successfully?
My advice was don't worry about college, do cool shit in your free time, and then start focusing more on that stuff. It was I don't know. God bless whoever heard it. But that was the night I really had a ton of fun.
When was the last time you were out till 3 a.m. on a Tuesday?
I couldn't even tell you. It's been years and years. I had a cigarette.
Ooh.
I was dancing, I was grooving, and at one point I was in the bar where Brianna Chicken Fry and all them were up on the thing, and I was just by myself down grooving with the band and this old man. But yeah, no, that was really fun.
Was that the first time you've gotten to meet Jason Kelce?
Well, so then so here's the thing about that too. Monday they told me exactly. They're like, go on part. You got invited to be on Part of My Take. Have something fun for Jason Kelce, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do? I was in panic mode. So I'm pacing back and forth between all my touring around and tooling around. But I had already made plans at Tulane and wanted to go to the dozen. So I was like, shit. So before that, I'm pacing back and forth in my room, writing stuff down, trying to think of things. And I was texting my cousins. I was like, guys, anything you can think of about Jason Kelce, send it my way. And they're like, just sending, getting my brain going, factoids little and this and that.
Little brainstorm.
Little brainstorming session with my cousins. I was panicking. And then I went out like an idiot. And then I'm back in my room at 3 a.m, hammered, being trying to.
Just scribbling on paper.
Yeah. So then by the time of the roast the next morning at 10 something, I was sitting there oh my God, does this make any sense at all? I was panicking. But thank God it worked out. And they were super nice. And yeah, it was just a dream come true kind of week. And,
hell yeah. Well, yeah. And then were the crawfish good on the yak?
Oh my God! Then Justin who did
Bevy.
The crawfish,
Yep.
He was the nicest guy. Brought 50 pounds of crawfish or something for the and boiled it right there next to the yak. We tried to get the crawfish to latch onto TJ's nipples. TJ cut like 2 holes in his shirt and tried to, because I told them it was a New Orleans tradition at your first crawfish boil, you have to get a crawfish attached to your nipple. I made that up.
Yeah, I'll say I haven't ever heard that, but I remember that happened to me when I was with Sydney Wells, and I had
Really?
to bite my nipple.
You got to. Did it latch? We couldn't get these ones to latch.
Yeah, I think maybe I have like a big.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a bigger boob than TJ these days.
Well, thankfully he brought crabs. He's like, I had a feeling these wouldn't latch, so I'll bring crab. He brought this big ass crab that latched onto Danny real good. So thankfully that day was saved. Chris Stapleton concert.
Oh,
then,
nice!
The
You went
next
to
night.
Stapleton. Yeah, and it wasn't Jelly. It was what, him Jelly Roll.
Well, so I was doing. I only saw Chris Stapleton, but then the next night I'm out. I had to do a date with Danny as a punishment for Danny. Had to go out with me for an hour. But so I took us up to Frenchman Street, and we're on Frenchman Street, and we'd had a bunch of drinks at this point because we ran into Deutsch, the chugging guy, at the Lafitte's blacksmith shop.
Yeah,
whatever.
the purple. Did you get any of the purple drink?
So we were all like chugging purple drinks, and I kept going back all week to the Aaron Rose for those Irish coffees. Like I couldn't get enough of them. But at this point, we're on Frenchman. I've had a bunch of drinks, and I get a text from Kelsey's team being like, "Hey, can you be at the Fillmore in like 10 minutes for?" And I was like, KB and Nick and all them had just gotten there, and I was like, "See you guys later." I like just ran out of the restaurant to the Fillmore and ended up getting to see Chris. Yeah, it was just I'm rambling.
No, I love it. I like the enthusiasm.
Yeah, you guys too. I have 2 young kids, and like I don't have FOMO for anything. I had kids later in life, so I got my partying out of the way. I'm never sitting at home holding them being like, "Fuck, I wish I was out right now." But it does like refresh you a little bit to have a change of scenery and go do new things and like whatever. So I just feel like I kind of needed that trip. As selfish as that sounds, I guess. It was awesome for work, but it was also awesome for me.
Hell yeah. How was the Chris Stapleton show?
He was amazing. His voice is just incredible, and it was just I had a few drinks before I got there, and like Bo Allen's like bringing me beer. I'm like, what is life? This is crazy. And then at the end, I had like NFL players around me, and I was like, you know why we're gonna win the Super Bowl? We have the chemistry they don't have. I was like giving like a speech. But yeah, no, it was, and I was right. And
you were very right.
I don't gamble very often, but I do have a DraftKings account, and I put all my, if we like win the basketball thing, you get free money or whatever. Here we do like the promos. So I've been saving it up, and I've been betting here and there, and I've been winning. Winning.
Kate's hot.
Right before the game, I put it all on the birds, and I get it now. I get it. It's a good feeling.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So you just crushed the whole
I
week.
just had a great week. That's probably so annoying right now.
No. I love the enthusiasm.
But,
what did you like? One of the things I was loving as a big New Orleans guy, I thought New Orleans showed out awesome this week.
It did. It really did.
Because like after the New Year's Day tragedy, there was a lot of heavy stuff, and I thought this was exactly the week New Orleans needed. And I thought all the feedback from celebrities, NFL, Barstool, like everybody loved it and said it's their favorite place to go for Super Bowl.
Well, it was so cool. Like I would take a lift somewhere, and when I would get out of the car, the driver would be like, "Hold on real quick," and they'd run to their trunk, and they'd have like a goodie bag, like a visitor goodie bag for me that they made themselves with their own money. Or it was a lot of my like Lyft drivers like, "Oh, my husband's a chef at where the Eagles are staying, and if they win, the party all night." Like everybody was just so. I went over to Magazine Street, and all the stores I went into, everybody's like, "Oh, where are you from?" Blah blah blah, like hyping you up for even being there. And just everywhere I went, the hospitality, everybody was so nice. Even the bartenders, like I feel like in New York, if like there's certain bars that only take cash, or you order a certain way and blah blah, and you get kind of treated like shit for it. Mm-hmm. They were so nice about it here. They're like, "Hey, dumbass, that's okay." It was just like, I can't quite explain it, but it was a certain je ne sais quoi to that city that was awesome.
Hell yeah, I'm glad you loved it so much. Obviously you did a lot. Well, gosh, you did so much. What was your particular favorite? Any favorite? They had the Tuesday night out, maybe your favorite? Or the
Tuesday night out was big time up there. Also because too, we got to see so many people from the New York office, and I like everybody.
And you never get to see them.
I never get to see them, and so it was really fun. It was almost like a Barstool reunion, and every bar I went into was like, "Oh my God, it's the marketing team, sales, like whatever." Like every bar you went into was different people from Barstool, and it was just like, it was like a box of chocolates. I was just getting different ones as I went down the street. Yeah, it was just super fun. But then too, I'm a huge, before I had kids and before Pat and everything, I was a huge solo traveler.
Oh, cool.
Like I would travel the country by myself and stay in hostels, and like I'm at my best when I'm around people who don't know me, who I'm never going to see again, who I can just totally be myself and like whatever. So I just had a great time exploring the city by myself. It was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. Just chatting people up.
I would have loved to seen the Kate back in the day travel at hostels.
Yeah.
Like where were some of the best you ever like favorite places you went solo?
My trip to I did Pacific Northwest once, Oregon up to Washington, and I was staying at a hostel in somewhere just like right on the edge of Seattle. And this group was like, "Oh, do you want to come tubing with us?" And that led to an adventure like out in the boonies of a few hours outside Seattle. And it was like one of the best days. I love tubing.
I love tubing too.
Love tubing.
I still
dude.
love it even at this age.
But they just like took me under their wing, and I ended up having like this great 2-day adventure with these people I didn't know. Never saw them again. Didn't get any contact info, whatever. One of them was like a famous treehouse builder and the awesome party treehouse. It was like, I don't know. You just find your way into different experiences that way that you wouldn't if.
I think there's a lot to be said for going out and doing stuff on your own in life.
Yeah.
And just having the confidence to do that. Because it's like when you're like young, you're all, I guess, you know, it's naturally when you're young, you're like, oh, this is weird if I go to like a movie by myself, if I go eat by myself or whatever. And I actually think it's the opposite. I think it shows confidence.
I would go to comedy shows by myself and like sit right up front. Like after a while, but then you get too into it. And then you go places with people and you're like, oh, they're slowing my pace. Like then you're like, oh, I'm an asshole now. Maybe I've overdone it. So thankfully kids have grounded me.
I saw the pic with you and the kids with all the Eagles gear. Did y'all have a good time watching the game?
Yeah. Now they're actually Commanders fans.
Oh,
I hate
are
to
they?
say their dad. Yeah, but he let me take him for the Eagles for just this special week. But yeah, I got the Phillies. He got the Commanders. Was the big trade off.
How did Conference Championship Sunday go?
It was a sad day for them. It was a sad day. A happy day for me. I knew what was going to happen. So. But yeah, it was a sad day for them. But I think they have a lot to look forward to in the coming years.
Oh, no doubt.
Like they're going to be just fine.
No doubt. But the Eagles thing was, I mean, they deserved it. They were the most complete team. They could have won it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just so dominant. God, what an ass beating.
Well, it was just, it's funny too, because I follow so much Philly sports media, and all year, especially in the beginning, it was like so doom and gloom.
They were 2-2, and I remember they had the collapse last year.
Yeah.
And so people were like on Sirianni, like he might lose his job, and then he just wins the Super Bowl.
Well, even after we beat the Commanders, I put on WIP, and it was like, we got to fire Jake Elliott. I'm like, everybody calm down. Jesus. But yeah, no. So it almost feels like this, like it was like a whirlwind that came out of nowhere, even though it was a great season because like the doom and gloom was so heavy on whatever. But it's awesome. And the parade is on Friday. Is that Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
City of Brotherly Love, Valentine's Day parade.
Super Bowl parade.
And back the last time they won was like, I had just started at Barstool. I don't even know if I was getting paid yet or just starting to do social stuff or whatever. But social media for the parade was like one of the first things I ever did. And then it was just like honest to God, one of the greatest days of my entire life. Like I got into the city at the crack of dawn, started out way down in South Philly, and basically followed the parade all the way up to the art museum and Kelsey's speech and all. Like I just had a backpack full of beer, and then it just kept popping into the corner bars, just filling it up the whole way through. Well, yeah, it was like one of the best days of my life. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I thought it was South Philly on Bourbon Street. I mean, just the Eagles takeover.
Yep.
It seemed like it was like 60 to 70% Eagles fans down there.
Well, too, like I feel like we do the Northeast version of Mardi Gras. We have the Mummers Parade. That's like very, very similar. We probably like kind of got it a little bit from New Orleans, but every New Year's Day we take to the streets in fancy costumes with our little umbrellas doing our dances.
Oh, wow.
It's a huge it's our Mardi Gras parade in the middle of winter in the freezing cold. But it's massive. It's like thousands and thousands of people come out for it. And it's like a similar, you got the beads, you got whatever. My bad tits out there. No, I'm just kidding. But I feel like we have a similar kindred party spirit.
Yeah, well, the fan base is epic. I mean, the Eagles, there's nothing like that Eagles and Philly fan base, and just seeing them show out NOLA. And it seemed like everybody obviously they had a great time. They won the Super Bowl, but they were out really supporting the city. and partying. And I didn't see anything. I know they greased the poles, but I never saw anything too crazy.
Yeah, nothing really that over the top. It seems like it was pretty chill. And even in Philly, like, we took some poles down and we caused maybe a few $100,000 worth of damage, but it wasn't anything like insane.
Yeah,
so.
I thought if it would have been Eagles Bills with those two fan bases, so it might have gotten more crazy.
Things would have been a little different.
No,
but our numbers too. We just had strength in numbers that it was like not even But yeah, no, it was even leaving on Friday because I left on Friday to come back home. But then at the airport, it was just an endless stream of Eagles fans, and the vibes were so high. And I was like, wow, even the airport's fun right now. Yeah, it was just cool.
Yeah, and I love the Eagles' presence at Barstool, too, with you and Connor and Roan and Max and Pug.
Oh, what a team walking into that stadium.
The Max.
I saw that photo of them, like, walking up the ramp and I was like, we're Eagles by 1,000. Like, I know we're gonna win.
Max with the sleeves out.
Yep.
Just looking like he's been partying for 8 days because he probably had, just raising hell. Like, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was just like classic.
Awesome.
Classic to see. But just congrats to Philly. So now you're back here. You're just getting. Are you going to the parade Friday?
I don't think so. I wish I had my time in the sun, and but I think Mook. I don't know if you saw his video from Philly right after that.
Oh, I did. His man on the street was killing.
Fantastic video. And I think, I don't know if he'll be there or not, but hopefully he's there. I'm sure we'll have some Philly boots on the ground for it. But yeah, I'm just riding high right now. It's just so great for the city. And I mean, last time they won it, I feel like it was part of this whole turnaround and the mojo and the vibe of the city. Like, I don't know. I'm just really happy for everybody. So
yeah, I feel like this team was like incredible when they won it last time, the Nick Foles thing when they beat the Pats, and it was an all-time game. This is a lot better team than that team was.
Yeah.
This team is amazing, serious football team.
Jaylen Hurts too. Like, oh my God. Yeah, right. You could name almost any player on that team and be like, holy shit. So yeah.
Yeah,
no, awesome.
I was happy for Hurts too, because like his whole story at Bama when he got benched and left, and went to Oklahoma and was second in the Heisman, got him to the playoffs, and then second round pick ends up. People are always doubting him, and now he's the Super Bowl champ, and now you just get to love life. Well, what's on tap? It's always weird. This is a weird week at Barstool because we go so hard for football season for over 6 months.
Now it's like, now what do we do?
Now people start watching the college basketball. I know the Mark Titus Show did a primer for people that haven't been paying attention to college basketball. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. The Yak Pro Day in 3 weeks, part 2.
Yak Pro Day part 2.
Yeah, Clemmer's coming back.
Mintzy versus Clemmer. We've had a snag. We really wanted to do slippery stairs with you guys, and it's already been done by who's that group of dudes? Dude Perfect? Did they do? I think they did slippery stairs.
That scares me.
So don't worry, we'll find something slippery for you to do. We know we're gonna have your bodies greased and oiled up to the dickens.
Okay, well, you're gonna try to oil me up.
We're gonna oil you up.
Well, I'm excited about that. That's gonna be fun. Once again, check out Clemmer's Rat Race too. It came out last week. Awesome show.
Great show.
Cool thing with Nola. And then, this is kind of like a transition time. Me personally, I'm going to get into college basketball a little bit. I'm excited. No, you're not.
Yeah, are you big into it at all? Or
not really? As big into college basketball. Like I support Ole Miss, and we're top 25. What I'm big on is college baseball, which actually starts this weekend, which is crazy. Mid-February, freezing cold baseball. But I'm about to be doing a lot of that stuff the next 4.5 months. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in here. I really appreciate it, and I feel like glad you had so much fun in New Orleans.
Dude,
sounds like an unforgettable week.
People said I'm glowing.
Yeah.
I'm glowing.
I can see it.
Maybe it's the giant bright lights, but I feel like
your skin feels like it looks like it's.
Yeah, that city and the people rule, and they did an amazing job.
Yeah, so. And it's like right into Mardi Gras, into spring festival season, into Jazz Fest. Like,
I don't know how people survive. I was talking to my cousin. She's like, well, we have this party and this one and then this parade. I was like, and finals? Yeah, that's crazy. So.
Yeah, no, I don't know how to survive either. I remember when I was leaving New Orleans in May 2014 to go back to school, I was like crawling up I-55 in like the fetal position. I was like, I have no money. I have no brain cells. I just like totally burned it down on the way out. But I like my current relationship with New Orleans, where it's like you're like the uncle that's there for the 20% that's awesome, but you're not there for the 80% day to day. I think that may be a little more of a healthy balance.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Very nice.
But anyway, well, thank you so much for joining us, Kate, this morning.
Mintz, before Kate leaves, the people want to see you kiss her shoes. Just in honor of the Queen being there. They want to see a quick kiss of the feet.
You know what? I would, but my kids squeezed a whole pouch of puree onto the top of my boots this morning, so I don't know if he wants.
Oh, that's even better.
That smoke. But
That's even better.
That's on her.
That's on me.
No, this is her decision. I'll do it if the people want it. But,
I'm giving Mintzy a pass.
so
I'm giving Mintzy
she's
a pass.
giving me a pass.
Only because of the puree, though. Otherwise, I'd have them all up in there on the boot.
All right.
So.
All right. Well, thanks to Stella Blue and Dude Wipes. Find Dude Wipes at Walmart, Amazon, Target, all over the World Wide Web. One use will change your life. You'll never need dry, scratchy toilet paper again. Let's pound some Stella Blue coffee. Let's have a day. Oh, check out Barstool After Dark. I don't know how the hell Nick, KB, and Tate are going to lose 30 pounds.
Not possible. I don't think it's possible.
Well, how do you cut weight off Nick and KB?
I said they should eat tungsten pills.
Like if you're going to do
I
mean, I suggest this, but if you're going to do like a 30-pound thing, you got to get people that are bigger because then you can actually drop the weight.
Right. KB is like a greyhound. He's got not a single bit of fat on it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Check out that.
Will be great for content if somebody dies.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. We'll get numbers. But I hope not.
Always the numbers. Well, thanks again to Kate. Appreciate her joining us. Shout out New Orleans for a great week. Shout out Moody as well. Stella Blue Dude Wipes. Let's go have a day, boys.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.